Hello, welcome back to Gnippets. My name is Germ, and today I wanted to talk about hate. I would consider myself a very hateful person. I would consider myself a very judgmental person. And I try to understand the people that I hate. Because there's an idea I partially subscribe to that I've heard where if you understand a person 100%, it's impossible to hate them. For a while, I didn't like this ideology because I kind of like disliking people. I like finding people unsavory. But understanding someone and not hating them doesn't mean you can't find their actions repugnant. You can look at someone and say, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I find your actions unwarranted. Let's just say. There's been a couple people recently that I have just hated. I can't understand it. I'm like thinking about it, I'm putting myself in their shoes, and it's not enough. And I heard from Dr. K recently, he's great, he runs the Healthy Gamer GG stuff. He said, there's no one you hate on this earth more than someone who's exactly like you. And it sounds like nonsense, and I guess the older I'm getting, it's getting more true. You know, you see people who hate their parents and they kind of turn into their parents, as an example. But there are these two guys who I absolutely cannot stand. These are two people who are literally worlds apart. One of them actually recently competed at the American Olympic trials. I used to be a pretty decent athlete, and he made it further than I did, and he competed at the Olympic trials, and I hate this guy. I'm not jealous of his athletic success at all. Just, I guess, for my sanity's sakes, I was a better athlete than him. I gave up my dream of athleticism a long, long time ago. And there's this other guy I know who barely graduated high school, sat on his ass until he was 25, and now he's a bartender and is more successful than me. And you might say to yourself, oh, well, the idea is that you're jealous. They're both doing better than you in life. And that's just not what it is at all. I don't really care about people's status or their situation in relation to mine. And these are people that I actually know, I think I know pretty decently well from a personality perspective. And what I realized about these two people is I hate them because they remind me of who I used to be. In the case of the Olympic athlete, he's so pompous, arrogant, egotistical. He thinks he's on top of the world when, at the very best, he is an average person with above average opportunity. And on the other side, you have the bartender who is hateful, ignorant, thinks he knows better despite his circumstance, when in reality, the reason he thinks he knows better is because of circumstance. If he knew just a little bit more, he'd know that he knew nothing. And I see both of these people, and I look at them, and all I can think about is how I used to be exactly like them. How I was in the exact same place that they were in terms of headspace for outlook on life. And I look at them, in the case of the Olympic athlete, I can kind of let go. I can be like, he's successful enough, it works for him, whatever. But what's so strange with the bartender is that he is several years older than me. And it's so strange to see someone who is supposed to be ahead of you in life so far behind. It's one thing if they're behind and they are working really hard and they are trying their best and they're keeping themselves head to the grindstone, working really hard. But he's not necessarily about that at all. He's super nonchalant, talking about how he drinks on the job, does drugs on the job, getting laid all the time. It's a misunderstanding of values. And I think he knows that. Or at the very least, if I thought that he knew that, I'd have more reason or better reason to hate him. But he doesn't, so I can't.